Hi, team. We just want to welcome you to the call today. We are with Vincent Orleck. I'm not really sure if that's how you say your last name, but
Yes.
he is here today as a guest. He's going to share social media tips with us, just how to post and some compliance issues. So thank you for being on the call today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me. Do you want me to just kind of launch into some questions and answers?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do the questions and then anything else, valuable tips for our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, I manage all the social media channels here for Plexus. So that includes our Facebook page, our Twitter accounts, Instagram account, Pinterest. We're on Pinterest. We're on YouTube. We're on LinkedIn, even Google Plus, which has kind of taken a little bit of a downturn in terms of a social media network like the others. And we just started maybe about a month ago now, our Snapchat account. So if you want to follow any or all of those, I will send a list of the links and the usernames and all that I'll send it to Amber or whoever after we're done, and we'll get that to you guys so that you can follow along. So we try to do some different things on each channel. So it's usually fun, but there's a lot of information too that sometimes, like on Snapchat, what I've been doing here and there is maybe teasing a little something that before it comes out to an email to everybody. So there's some reason to follow each of the different channels. And that also goes into some of what I would recommend for you guys too as ambassadors. So we'll get into that. Without further ado, I know you guys have a lot of questions about a lot having to do with compliance and what to post. It's totally understandable, and there's a lot of new things happening, new policies and ways that you kind of have to be aware of what you're doing to stay compliant, and we get that here. We understand that, just so you know. I mean, we're not putting out our Plexus way to mess up your business. It's to keep you in business and to keep the company in business. It's a really big deal. So I definitely appreciate the questions that came in that I received about what you guys want to know about. I appreciate that, and we appreciate that you guys really want to know and adhere to what you should be doing. Because it's different, it's some of you that have been around for a little while. It's definitely a different course of action than has been in place before, and there's more clarity, I think, now, and even more coming. But I'm going to do my best to answer the questions that you have related to social media, because there's different elements, right? I mean, there's social media, there's things that you want to do in person or in different places. So as it relates to social media, I am definitely here to help. So I have a list of questions here. I'll just start running down. The first one that I have is about graphics having to do with pay. So I know that there's a lot of graphics out there that talk about specific amounts and what ambassadors can make on average or what they can expect to make. The only graphic that is really compliant in general is the one that we release usually annually, that has to do with what the income is on average per rank of ambassador. So that one, it'll probably be coming out again in the next couple months. But other ones that you see about that are not the ones that we released, even if they have the same numbers, technically you're supposed to submit something like that to compliance. If you take even the same numbers, the same exact numbers, but you put that information on a different looking graphic, and a lot of you know this based on your previous experience with compliance, any changes that you make, whether even if it's just visual, the information is the same, but the visual is different. It still has to go through compliance. So you'd still have to get that approved and get a number on it, a code and all that to be able to use it for technically. So staying compliant, that's how you would do it. You'd either use the one that we put out or submit something in and get it approved by compliance. Do you guys, after each question, I'll just kind of open it up and see if that makes sense, if you guys have additional questions about that one.
My only question is, so there was the monthly graphic, the monthly average incomes that we've used a lot. Is that one not compliant? Then you just want the one that's out by Plexus with the like stair step with the, that one's okay, but not the monthly, or is the
right?
monthly?
Yeah, because we've never put out a monthly graphic with monthly figures on it, and I've definitely seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know people have used it. You know, that is something that now if it's approved by compliance, if it's got a code on it, I mean that's different. But in general, no, it's usually just that annual income one. From what I know of, from what I've heard from compliance, I mean I talk to them regularly. The monthly one, because of the way it works out. I mean, I know it seems sensical that, oh, well, if this is the yearly income on average, well, this is the monthly income on average. But in reality, you know, if you really think about it, it's not. It's not, because there's an annual average income, but that's not for everybody. That doesn't apply to everybody. And so the monthly amount wouldn't apply to everybody and wouldn't necessarily be monthly either.
Right. It depends.
You know, because 1 month it could be this much, 1 month it could be this much. And so it's, you know, it's one of those things that we just have to be really, really clear on the amounts, and that people cannot expect to make that amount because someone else is.
You're right.
But yeah, I've seen that one a lot, and we get questions about that one a ton, because I know it makes sense. You guys, it makes sense. You want to use it. It's a good way to present it to someone. Totally get it. Totally get it.
It's pretty spot on. However, I know what you're saying. Like 1 month your PV could be high, so it could be a higher month, and then 1 month your PV might be low or something. So then it's going to vary a little bit. So you're saying that Plexus doesn't want us to put that out there. We'd rather use the yearly income because that's a little more of a
and the actual graphic that we put out, unless you get something approved by compliance. So I mean, it's kind of a general rule of thumb that you want to follow is, if you have a question, err on the side of caution and submit it to compliance and get that approval, or get a reason back, you know, why is this not good, or what have you.
Maybe you could message Amber the actual compliant graphic so that we just are on the same page knowing which.
Or where do we find it? Is that in our back office?
I don't know if it's back there right now. I mean, we've put it out there a bunch of times. Some people I've seen post it too, but I can definitely provide it to you guys directly.
That'd be great.
Yeah, of course.
Are there places other than Plexus Power Tools and the Learning Center that you can use graphics from? Can you send her that as well if there are?
Well, I would say that the Plexus Tools, that website, the Plexus Tools website, I mean, that's not our website either. That's not, we don't create that website. So I know that the person that manages that website, they've been in touch with compliance as well. I don't know what the status is there. But that's not us that manages that website. That's someone else that created that and has kept that updated. And we've worked with them, or compliance has worked with them. But it's not one that we manage per se. The Plexus Learning Center is our blog, plexuslearningcenter.com. Certainly, the things that we put out there, it's for public consumption. So you can certainly use anything that you find there. Your back office, if I know that there's be more coming to the back office as a result of this new kind of movement towards compliance, towards being more compliant, if you will. But that's coming. So that's compliance is managing all that. So I don't know exactly when that's going to happen. The graphics that will be there though will be like in the library, the content library. You'll be able to use those because they'll have already been pre-approved for ambassadors to use.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess kind of sticking along the lines of compliance, there was a question about compliance and private messaging.
Yes.
And I guess I'm assuming the question is, what are the compliance requirements when using private messages on anywhere, like on Facebook, in texts or anywhere like that? Do you think that's accurate?
Yes.
Yeah, like we were told that we are able, when it's private messaging, it's a whole different ballgame. Like you're allowed to send, like you're allowed to use like actual diseases and your real testimony versus like, you know, the wording we're supposed to use for compliance on our pages, our walls.
Was that something that came from the company though, or did it come from?
Well, our Diamond upline.
Okay.
That was.
We don't know where we heard that. Information on it.
We are not telling you who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't have to tell. No, I know.
We heard that. We have no idea.
Well, they need to know too. So yeah.
Yeah, and
they're wrong, then they need to know too.
Yeah, they're also going through a huge amount of new training over the last month or so. So when it comes to be totally honest, when it comes to anything, I mean, you really compliance is not like a on here you can be compliant, and here you can't, because anything that's not compliant can come back to hurt you and the company. So it's not about kind of doing it in secret, let's say, and that just because I'm talking to one person, it's a different standard. At least I wouldn't approach it like that. And usually when I'm talking with teams like you guys, I take it as, if I was an ambassador, here's what I would do. And if it was me, I wouldn't go into how products, you know, can help with different ailments and diseases and things like that. It's just not, because it's not compliant. It's whether it's to one person or 50,000 people, either way, it's still making a medical claim, even though it's your maybe personal testimony. It's how it worked for you. It's still a claim of that sort. So you really have to let that person, whoever's trying the product, let's say, you have to just let it work for them, you know, and see, let them experience the results, assuming they have results. So that's the answer to that question. Is I wouldn't treat it differently if I was an ambassador. I would stay compliant, because there's nothing stopping that person from contacting our compliance department and reporting you too. You know?
Can I ask you a question? So
yeah.
So I know we have a compliance person now in charge of compliance at Plexus. So
and we've always had that. Just to be clear, we've always had someone, a director of compliance. Now Chris Reed is the vice president of compliance and corporate affairs also, but he's really in charge of overall compliance.
Okay, and I guess I'm just curious on, like, is this coming down from, like, the FDA is really looking at all of our posts and they're going after us, kind of? Or why is it all of a sudden like there's a sense of urgency, like we've got to get serious about compliance?
Well, because he has that initiative as the vice president of compliance, to get the company and our ambassadors to do compliant things. It's not that the FDA or FTC are coming down specifically on us right now, but we definitely don't want to get to that point, and we want to be proactive rather than reactive. So we want to, if anything does come into question, we want to be able to address that and say, hey, this is what's in place. This is the education that's in place for ambassadors, and this is the program that we have in place, and this is what they're doing. So, we want to avoid that. That's the whole point. I mean, there's as far as the urgency, it's because Chris is here and recognizes that need, and Tarl recognizes that need, and Alec recognizes that need, and the whole team, the executive team, recognizes that need.
And did he come? Chris Reed came from another company that got in a little bit of trouble with compliance, right? So is that why he's really like? He came from another
network marketing company. They didn't get in trouble because of compliance. They got it was something else on the business side. It wasn't a testimonial or compliance issue necessarily. It was more of how that company was set up. It was a company called Vima, which is actually located here in Scottsdale. And part of it was that they were making claims to younger people to, hey, skip college or drop out of high school and you can make millions and you can do this and that. So part of it was that, but there was also some other business issues as well.
Okay, but it sounds like he's a real expert in the field and just wants to help protect us, which is a really
absolutely. Oh my goodness, yeah. He's been a lawyer for like 30 years. He wasn't the reason why that company got shut down. It was actually kind of it was because they really didn't listen to what he was saying at one point. That was a huge factor. So and he wasn't actually there very long either. He was only there for a little while. But he definitely knows what he's talking about. He knows the industry. He's a lawyer. He knows the legalities of everything, the ins and outs, the FTC, the FDA. He's very, very familiar and knowledgeable on all that. So that's why there is an urgency, on our end. If there wasn't before, there is now. But just with him at the top leading it, he's leading the charge more so because of his experience and what he knows to be true.
Yeah, that's great.
So is it safe to still tell them to take the ingredients to their physician?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to say, here's the packaging and I want my doctor to check it out. Yeah, I mean, we've always recommended that, and that's always still the case for someone to have their doctor, physician review it and see if it's right for them. That's just being on the safe side.
Can you tell them though that your doctor has approved it or no?
That I don't know. I mean, that would be more of a question for compliance directly. But I would highly suggest, again, if it was me, with people that I was talking to, I would definitely suggest that they take the products to their doctor to review it. I mean, you just want to be on the safe side. The other part of it too is if they do that, well, now I mean, they're at least a little bit more than interested. I mean, if they take the time to take the products and have their doctor review it, I mean, that's another signal, if you will, that they're actually interested in what you are offering them. So the next question, again, staying with this kind of line with compliance, there was a question about, can we mention over-the-counter medication like Tylenol or product brands like Rogaine? That has actually never really been compliant to do that. With our compliance guidelines, we've always stated that you should not mention other brands when you're, especially with social media. You shouldn't post, and there's been a lot of graphics like this and ones that have been taken down or asked from compliance to be taken down with other brands being mentioned. And it's not even just other medicines or pharmaceuticals. It's, I think the big one at one point was with Starbucks. There's a million graphics out there about here's how much a cup of coffee costs, and it's got a Starbucks cup in there. And even though it doesn't name the company, the logo is there, which is trademarked, and we can't use that. I mean, that's just kind of a standard in every business, if you will. In the business world, you can't really use another company's logo to help promote yours. They can sue you for that. That's against trademark law. So for us, definitely you want to stay away from that. That's not within compliance. And since I've been here for 2 years, and since day one that I've been here, I know that that's never been really allowed. Now, whether or not someone used it, an ambassador might have posted something like that and gotten caught, let's say, that's a different story. I mean, we have a compliance team of like 12 people or so that are online all day. And we have tools that we use, what they use to find things online. And then people send things in too. You know, even me, I get things messaged to me to the Facebook page that are not super positive sometimes about something an ambassador is posting. And that also gets sent to compliance. So while I'm not actively out there searching for non-compliant things, it is certainly they come in to me, and they definitely go into compliance, and compliance certainly finds those types of things.
I have a question. So should our Facebook pages remain private? And then as far as older posts that aren't compliant, do they need to go away? Like, do we need to delete them? Is that how?
So there's your profiles and your pages. So are you talking about the personal profiles or the business pages?
Like our personal profiles, and then like our team pages too. Like, do they?
Well, your team pages hopefully aren't public, right? I mean,
No, they're not public.
Yeah, your groups on Facebook that you have with your teams are generally going to be closed or even secret.
Mm-hmm.
Your personal profile, I mean, that's more of a kind of personal preference. It's not, we don't require that you do one or the other. But you know, if you're posting, the thing is, if you're posting things about Plexus on your personal profile, then they still have to be compliant. You're still putting them out there. So you have to be aware of that. Any post that you make, whether they're public or they're just to your friends, let's say, they would still need to follow the same rules. It's, again, kind of that same thing as the talking to someone one-on-one versus posting it everywhere. It's still the same guidelines that you would need to adhere to.
Right. But is there like a difference as far as people viewing? Like, are we more at risk when they are public, like our personal?
Well, I mean, it's reaching more people. I don't know if it's more at risk, because it depends who is in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, any one of your, what's that?
I think what she was talking about, like, say the FDA is looking for posts that are, making claims.
Mm-hmm.
More likely to see it if it's public than they are if it's private.
Generally, but I mean, your personal profile, keep in mind, is you're not connected to the world. You're still connected to your connections on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So if someone like the FDA or something, if they see it on a business page that's public, that's different. If the likelihood of someone seeing something on your personal profile is different than seeing something on your business page, but it's not stopping anyone. Say there's a friend of a friend of a friend that sees your post on your personal page, on your personal profile, okay. And they don't like what you do. Well, they can certainly report you. So it takes that one person. It's not like 50,000 people have to report it. It's if the right person or one person reports the right thing, I mean, it could lead to more.
So leading off of what Amber was asking, I really do want clarification on this too, about because I know I have just posts that I didn't know about compliance, and I might have mentioned some disease names. So do I need to go back and find those old posts and delete them or edit them? Like, do I need to scroll way back? Because I've been doing this for 14 months. So I've got posts, and then I've got posts that, lots of people shared on their pages and their walls, and it's kind of viral. So how do you deal with that if you know you have posts out there that may not be compliant?
Well, if it's your business page, if you have a business page, I would certainly do that. I would go back and get rid of those ones that you know are not compliant.
This is just my personal page. I don't have a business page.
Right. No, I'm saying for everybody else, though. I mean, everybody else, because people have both. So for your personal profile, it's your personal profile on Facebook. You're not seeing things from months ago pop up in your feed that someone posts. So it's not like people are seeing those all the time. It's maybe within the last couple of days. Sometimes when the memories thing comes up from a year ago, then something might pop up. It's in your best interest to take a look at what you've posted in the past and determine if it's compliant or not, and maybe mark it as hidden or something. You don't have to necessarily delete it, but you could hide it from your timeline, and then no one can see it. So that's an option. To go back 2 years and do it, I don't know that you need to do that, but certainly maybe within the last few months, it might be a good idea if you feel like there's some things that are not compliant.
Okay, so just click the button hidden instead of delete.
You can do, yeah. So it'll hide it from your timeline. So certainly if someone else wants to go see it, they won't be able to. If it's a friend that commented on it, they will be able to. But I mean, how often do you go back to posts from 3 months ago and look at what's happened on that post, really?
Okay, that's good to know.
All right. And then let's see. Any other of those types of questions along those lines?
Let me see. Oh, like a lot of us on our cover photo, on our page, our personal page, we have plexus or something about plexus. Should we, and then like we post on there, Senior Ruby, Plexus Ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
We can still have all of that on our page, right? It's fine.
Yeah. The only things that you're not allowed to do with your page in terms of the wording like that is you can't have it so that someone could mistake your page or your profile as the company. So and the words Plexus Slim and Plexus Worldwide, those are trademarked. So you can't use those words in, say, the name of your page. Unless you're saying independent ambassador with Plexus World, yeah.
Okay.
Because there's a lot out there that people say, they'll name their page, their profile, what have you, Plexus Slim, and that's, or Plexus Worldwide, and that if someone that doesn't know anything about the company looks at that, they think it's the company.
Okay.
So it just has to be really clear that it's you as an independent ambassador of the company.
I've also heard that there's been some suspensions of people that were non-compliant. That kind of scares all of us, I think, because you always think, oh my gosh, what if you got suspended at the end of the month, then, or right in time for payday.
Right.
So, like, is that a 5-day? I've heard like a 5-day suspension has happened to some people. And were they just posting, like at first when we all heard that, I think we thought, well, they must have talked about cancer or some crazy claim, but it really wasn't necessarily crazy claims, right? It was just mentioning disease names or.
I don't know specifics about, who was suspended. I know that happens all the time because people are, it's not like we just compliance sees something and then just suspend somebody. That's not the case at all. It's if there's a repeated offender, that's absolutely going to happen. Someone that, doesn't They don't care. They're just going to do whatever they want to do regardless of the warnings. I mean, compliance will send numerous emails and warnings if need be to people. I mean, the things I've sent from people that have reported things into me. Now, I'll say this: if there's something that's super egregious in nature, it doesn't mean that they're not going to get suspended on the first time through. It kind of depends on how things go from there when they're speaking with compliance. If it's someone that's a new ambassador and just isn't aware of really what they're supposed to do or how they should do it, then I would say that generally there's probably going to be a little bit more leeway than for someone that's been an ambassador for a while, that has maybe had a couple warnings and been told, hey, here's how you're supposed to do things and here's what you can't say. I mean, that's no question. So that's on our side, on compliance side. There's a whole other side, though, of Facebook itself that I don't know if any of your team, but Facebook certainly suspends accounts on their own for different types of activities. So it's not the same type of activities like we are holding you accountable for compliance. It's more like the way that you are acting on Facebook in terms of activity-wise, how often you post. What you post has some sort of an effect. Here's the example. A year ago, this past Super Saturday, so 2015 Super Saturday.
I was there.
Yep. So the night before that, the Friday night before, at about 5 o'clock our time, Arizona time, we emailed out the convention contest graphic.
Okay.
And so that went out. We posted it on our Facebook page. I tweeted it out. We emailed it out to every ambassador. And within about 15 or 20 minutes, I started getting a bunch of Facebook messages and different messages from different places from all kinds of ambassador levels. It was from jewels, diamonds on down. And it was people, their accounts got suspended on Facebook for, say, like 2 weeks in some cases, because they took that convention graphic from the email and they saved it and then they reposted it onto Facebook. And when they did, and this was on their personal profiles, this was in groups, this was in private messages. So it's all Facebook. It's all still, even your private messages that no one else sees, Facebook still manages that and controls that and reads everything that's in there. The algorithm reads it all. And it's a very smart back-end system that Facebook has at this point. It's 12 years in. It's constantly getting smarter. It's like Google in that sense, right? The Google search engine. So that what happened was, because so many people posted or messaged that same graphic, identical graphic, all over the place in this short amount of time, Facebook saw that as what it considered to be spam-like activity. And for many of those people, they got their account suspended. So in that instance, the better thing to do, which we didn't know at the time, that was the first time anything like that had happened. The better thing to do, really, instead of saving it from your email, would have been to take the post from the company page and share it if you wanted to. That one in particular, I was a little, after I saw it and saw what happened and thought about it, it seemed a little weird, because the convention contest isn't something you really would be posting
on your page. Yeah.
It's not like for customers or for potentials. I mean, maybe potentials to kind of see, oh, hey, here's what we're doing to get all these prizes for convention, right? Maybe. But the case that I get a lot for why people don't share things from our company page is because, and I get this, I totally understand this. You guys are a little bit nervous about, if I share something from the company page, someone may see that it's in my network, and then they're not going to come to me. They're going to somehow get back to the company, and I'm going to lose them. So, and that's the explanation that I've heard. I get that. I totally understand that. So, but in that case, it would have been a better way to go to share it from the page directly to your to your group, to your team, you know, to your personal network, what have you. So, and I think this last time that we put it out, we did the same. We kind of put a little explanation on it as to what to do. Even sharing the blog post with the link is better than sharing just the graphic, because like Facebook literally reads the code that's in a graphic that you make, and it reads it and it recognizes it. So if it sees that those same pieces of code all over the place within a half-hour span, it's going to shut you down. It's totally going to shut it down.
Yeah, that's how people get their Facebook shut down, from sending too many private messages with the same graphic or something like that. Or
just, yeah, so anything that you're doing too quick, too many of, and in too short amount of time. Okay. You're basically repeating or acting like a bot, which is a bot will do that. We'll just send out 1,000 messages to 1,000 people in 5-minute time.
I'm amazed nobody on our team has been to Facebook jail yet. I'm really
That's good. That's good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So stay out of there, because once it happens the first time, it makes it a little bit easier for it to happen again and again. And I haven't heard too much more that year though, or especially those few months following that. There were people that kept coming back and saying, "Oh, I got suspended again."
That would stink.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. So the final thing on that, and kind of the point of that is, what Facebook wants from you as a business person is they don't want you to sell or share anything relating to making money or product on your profile, on your personal profile. They don't want you to do that. They want you to have a business page and then push it all that way. Now, whether or not people do that is another thing, you know, because you want to take advantage of your personal network, your personal profile and all that. I totally understand that. But just know that Facebook specifically does not like that activity. And they even don't like MLMs. In general, network marketers, they see it all as one thing, as a pyramid scheme. They don't differentiate. They see if you're a network marketing company, they just see it all as the same thing. And they even have within the terms of service for advertising, for paid advertising campaigns, they specifically do not allow network marketers to run ads to, like, back to your website, or they'll let you do it to a page maybe if you get away with it, but they may shut it down after a certain amount of time.
Which brings up another good point. We really shouldn't post our website on our page, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. And even a step further, again, because it's all Facebook, even private messages can be difficult. What I suggest, and this is what I've talked about in every single one of these training meetings that I've done, that link, don't just hand it out. Treat that like it's your gold, right? It's valuable. So that should go to someone that is really, really serious and interested, and they don't get that until they show you that. And to give them that, do it a different way. Don't do it on Facebook. Don't do it on private messenger. Don't do it. The only place you can safely put it, from what we've seen, is if you have a business page, there's a place to put a website, and you can put it there. And that seems to be not an issue for Facebook. But otherwise, if you don't have a page, if you have a page, you can send someone and say, "Hey, go check out my website is on my page. It's right there." If you don't, then get their email address, get their phone number, talk to them in person, write it down for them. Even some of the other social channels, which I know this probably leads to the other questions here. So Instagram, there's one place on your Instagram profile that allows for a clickable link. Even though Instagram is owned by Facebook, we haven't really seen problems with Instagram having an issue with any network marketing representatives. So you can put that link in your Instagram profile and it shouldn't be a problem. Instagram doesn't allow you to put those links in your posts anyway. They don't allow any clickable links anywhere else. But putting it in your bio on your profile on Instagram is a good spot too.
Are you still there?
Do you want to talk about the other? Because I know there was a question about what are the other places to use, the other social media channels.
That would be great. Before we go on to that, though, I am
Yeah.
curious about the business page. You really recommend the business page? Because none of us have a business page.
I would, because it's, again, if it was me, I would have both, because that seems to be the safest place on Facebook to actually promote your business according to Facebook standards.
Okay. But you still need to be compliant on there too, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When I'm talking about Facebook standards, that's different from compliance. So there's the two separate things. So there's Facebook standards, which is anti-network marketing in general. Then there's our compliance, which is just staying compliant with what our guidelines are for posting and what you can talk about and say.
And then the business page, would we just invite, is that you would invite all of your Facebook followers to that
Yeah,
page?
there's a bunch of different ways to go about it, but certainly if and when you create one, you would invite your network. They're not all going to come over and like it. Just don't expect.
Right. That's right.
But that's okay. That's okay. Eventually, more will come as well. But generally, when you create the page, think of it as though you're launching your business again. You know, it's like, hey, I make a post and then share it to your personal account, or create it on your personal account. Create a status update on your personal page, and then put the link to your business page in it, and tell people, hey, you know, here's my business page for my Plexus business. If you want to hear information. Now, so here's the key. The majority of people that are not your customers, or even are your customers, are not going to go and like that page if you're not giving them a reason to go and like it.
Okay.
So if you're just telling them, hey, come over and like my page for more information about Plexus, do they want that, number one? So you'll get some low-hanging fruit that want to keep up with it, right? But I've heard stories about even Joule ambassadors now that when they were first customers, the person that introduced them to Plexus, they didn't like their page because they didn't want the updates about it. They were a customer and they were like, well, I'm already taking the products. I don't need to hear more about the company and the products. So even that's a factor. When you're doing your page, yes, you want to post about Plexus, the products, and the opportunity, of course, but you still have to give people a reason to follow the page. So what's going to be your reason to give to follow the page? Is it going to be just, you know, information about health in general? Is it going to be information about fun things to do with your kids? Is it going to be a mix of all these different things? Think about why you follow certain pages that you do. And your audience, there's a lot of your audience that's probably very similar to you, that has very similar interests. So think about why you follow Facebook pages, other Facebook pages, and give that type of information. You have to give value, or you have to educate, or you have to entertain, or some combination of all of those. That's how you get people to like your page. And it's getting harder and harder now just because there's so many pages, and people already like so many pages. So you really have to be specific as to why they should come and follow your page.
Okay.
But I would suggest it. If I was an ambassador, I would have both. And then, you know, maybe on a weekly basis, you are sharing a post from your business page over to your personal profile. Maybe on a weekly basis, you're also just, again, making everybody aware that you have a business page, and you're inviting, say, hey, don't forget to come follow my page. Or maybe that's every 2 weeks. You know, whatever the cadence is you feel like is not going to be over posting about it or spamming people about it. Maybe it's monthly. It just kind of depends.
And just invite like your warm market and maybe some of your customers, but not your ambassadors? Like you don't want your whole team on there, right? You just won't, or how does that
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to stop them from liking it. It's okay if they go on and like it, and they follow it. I mean, the more people you have, the better it is. The higher your follower account. I mean, there's a reason to have a higher follower count. I think generally people will follow a page if there's 150 people following it as opposed to 5.
right? Okay.
You don't want to be one of those first people for whatever reason, unless it's a friend. So I would invite out on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. I would post to your personal page, your profile, with the link back to your business page and say, hey, I still have my page over here. If you haven't liked it yet, come on and check it out. And maybe each week you're talking about something different. Maybe you're focusing on something different each week. And so that's a reason maybe someone's not going to go like it that week because it's something they're not really interested in. But maybe the next week is a different topic and they are interested in that. So they want to hear the updates from that.
Okay, great. Thanks for answering my question about that, because that's something I haven't done yet. So.
You're not alone. I mean, I think a lot of folks that I've talked to, a lot of ambassadors, they haven't created a page, or they created one when they first started and they just don't feel like they should use it or need to use it. It's
get some more business probably.
Yeah. Well, and part of it too is with the pages, Facebook has really knocked down over the last couple of years, knocked down the organic reach. So it used to be like 2 or 3 years ago, you had a business page, you would post to it, and if you had 1,000 followers, it would show up in, say, 300 or 400 of those followers' feeds. Whereas now it's a very low percentage. It's like 2% of your followers potentially will see that in their feeds. But the key is have good content, bring value, educate, entertain, all that good stuff. And keep pushing it. Invite people. The more people that you invite, the more people that will follow. The more people that follow, the more people that will see what you post each time. So don't get discouraged when you only see a couple people that saw the post, or you don't see any likes on a post. It's going to take time. It will take time. It's not going to be immediate. So you have to really, if you're gonna go with a page, you have to commit to it and stick with it for several weeks, couple months. Create content, post content there that really is interesting.
I have a question that kind of off of that. As far as posting, how often should we post daily to really get people to see our posts?
On your profile?
Yeah, just any page, I guess, our profile or the pages that you were talking about.
I would say with your Facebook profile, there's not like a set number. It really depends on the content, on what you're posting, and you do want to mix it up. I mean, you don't want to spam people with the Plexus information all the time. Think about how you would use Facebook if you were not a Plexus ambassador, because that's a lot of the audience that you're trying to reach. That's how they're using Facebook. They're not using Facebook to buy products or to learn about new business or anything like that. They're using Facebook to connect with their friends and their family. So assuming that you're connected with someone, you're either a friend of theirs or a family member. You're a friend to some extent. Well, it might just be an acquaintance that you met, but you're friends enough that you connected on Facebook. So don't take that for granted, and you always have to keep in the back of your mind, like when you post something, is this something that people are going to be interested in? Take a minute, create the post, read it, and think about it from the standpoint of, I am someone, I don't have anything to do with Plexus. Is this going to capture my attention? And then once you determine if it's going to capture the attention or not, is that going to then also garner interest? It's a big thing to capture someone's attention, but then after that, are they going to take the next step and even make a comment or share it or like it? That's really what you're going for, is the engagement side. Because once people start engaging, that's your goal. they're going to start seeing more of your posts. If they're not engaging with you, they're not going to see your posts. It doesn't show up because they have so many friends, so many pages they're following, that if the things that they're not engaging with, Facebook will not show them those things. Facebook wants to show you the things that you engage with the most. So for the best times, think about when you're on Facebook. When you get on it in the morning, how many posts do you see that are from yesterday at 3 o'clock or 2 days ago from midnight or something? I mean, it's not like that time was a great time. You're seeing that because you engage with that person and Facebook knows that you want to see posts from that person. So that's where you have to really think about it more. It's not a specific time with your personal profile. So that's why I asked that question, is because with your pages, if you do have a page, I found that typically earlier in the morning is the best time to put a post out. That tends to get the most engagement, the most reach for a business page. Later in the day, you can try it. It might be different for your audience that you have. And the pages tell you that too. So business pages, that's the other big difference, is business pages give you analytics. It's called Insights. It's a little tab on top of the page. And it will tell you who your audience is in terms of male, female, all the demographics. It tells you when they're online, generally. It brings up the whole chart of all your posts, and especially your most recent posts. It tells you the engagement numbers and everything. So you get those statistics, and those are valuable. So that's for your business page.
If you have someone on your business page and your personal page, that's still going to tell you a little bit about when they're looking at your stuff too, kind of. Or not. Maybe not, because it's different, the business.
Yeah, it is different. It is different. Because your personal profile doesn't give you any statistics other than, the likes, comments, and shares.
Right.
So now the new thing, if you guys, I'm sure you've noticed the reaction emojis.
Yes.
Right. So now even those are separated out. So on your business page, if you go to the analytics part, the insights, and you look at a post and it tells you likes, comments, and shares, if you go to the likes, it then separates out the emojis. So you can see these 3 people loved this post about Mega X. They're not ambassadors. Oh, well, wait, they're not even customers of mine. How do I reach these people? I need to reach out to these people. So it gives you that information. And then when you go back on the post, you can see who they are.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are the business pages always public then?
Yeah, I mean, you would, yes, they're public pages, but that's kind of the point of them is you're trying to promote a business, and you want it to be public. Now, that being said, when you post from a business page, you can share that out to, let's say, your network, but it can be like a specific network of people. So a group or a certain list of friends that Facebook automatically is generated. So you can even pick and choose within that too.
I have somebody that keeps messaging me. It just kind of goes back to an old question. They want to know, like, for posting, can we use like ibuprofen since it's not the actual brand? Are we able to do that? Like in post?
I mean, I wouldn't, like I said, if it was me, I wouldn't mention any of that stuff. I wouldn't compare it to other things, because the road you're starting to go down is not good in terms of compliance, and you want to avoid having any type of issue. Because here's the thing, right now, I mean, a lot of people have questions too. So say you post something, you think it's fine, but then someone else sees it and reports it in, or compliance happens to see it and it's not fine. So if I would say for that person, if they want to do that, send it in first.
Okay.
Send it into compliance and get a response on whether or not they can put up that exact post.
I think I know where that person's going with that question, because like our ease products are so great. So you kind of want to come up with a way of explaining, hey, there's an all natural alternative here. I mean, could you say that, like an all natural alternative instead of an over the counter pain reliever? Or I know we can't say the word pain, so I don't know.
Do we, like on our website, I'd have to check, like on the website, do we say ease is all natural, number one, as the company? Is that our wording? That's what that's kind of the process I would follow.
I say that all the time, because I think we are all natural, aren't we? Like we're plant-based.
Which product? Yeah, I mean, it depends. Because people say that Slim is all natural too, and it's not. That's why it got changed on the packaging even a while back about the most natural. So that's why it's you really probably the most immediate thing to look at would be the website, plexusworldwide.com, right? And then and look at the products and what things are said about the products there. And then if there's more questions, I mean, the compliance will always give you the best answer and tell you that's okay or it's not okay.
All right. Is there any really great tips you want to share with us? Because we're going an hour already. So any really good tips?
Well, I know that the one other big one that, I mean, we talked about Instagram a little bit. I know a lot of people are looking for things other than Facebook to potentially use. I would say Instagram is probably, for a number of reasons, that's probably the next best one. Instagram is almost entirely mobile. It's visual. It's a pretty quick hit in terms of you can take a picture or have a picture in your phone, post it, put a caption, stay compliant, and then put hashtags. And I know a lot of people ask about the hashtags. The hashtags are just a way to get found in different places. So, for Instagram, let's say you put up a picture and talk about blah, 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 whatever it is, and then hashtag health, hashtag fitness, hashtag wellness, what have you. So you can put a lot of hashtags, a lot of hashtag terms. Basically, those are just like search terms. So when you go on Instagram, each of those hashtags puts you into a feed on Instagram of just that one hashtag. So if you put 20 hashtags, which is okay to do on Instagram, that puts you into 20 different feeds on Instagram. There's a ton of hashtags. The ones I named are super general. There's millions of posts utilizing those hashtags. If it was me, and I even try to do this with my own personal stuff and with the Plexus posts, you can find hashtags that are more specific and more niche. So there's a huge fitness audience on Instagram. Huge. And there's all kinds of crazy hashtags that are big in terms of how many posts or how many people look at those and use those hashtags. So like one is hashtag FitFam, F-A-M. And I've seen that used kind of for anyone that's like working out. They're in the gym, they're working out, or they're drinking protein shake, whatever. And that's one of the hashtags that they'll use. But that's not one that you would really think of just not knowing anything. You FitFam, whatever, who knows. But health and wellness, you would. So if you can find more of those types of hashtags like that are more specific, more almost niche oriented, and niche doesn't necessarily mean small. It just means more focused. The way to do that, yeah.
You can look by looking at other people's profiles, right? Like what they kind of hashtagged. You can use their hashtag.
Yeah. Look up. I mean, you can kind of go down this little rabbit hole, but the rabbit hole can be worth it. So if you look up fitness, hashtag fitness, and then there's going to be a lot. And look, in all honesty, it's not maybe all going to be 18 and under appropriate. It's like bathing suits and bikinis and stuff. But generally, I mean, there's not really gonna be nudity. It's not, Instagram doesn't really allow for that. You don't see much of that, if at all. And if it does, it gets taken down pretty quickly. But if you look up something like that, hashtag fitness, you'll see all these different posts. And if you then, click on one and then look at, that means that they use that hashtag fitness in their post. Look at the other hashtags that they used, and then if you see one that's like, oh, what does that mean? Click it. You can click on the hashtag right in the post, and then that will take you to another whole feed of just that hashtag. And then it's really up to you to kind of go through and figure out which ones, this seems like a good audience for Accelerator, or this seems like an audience for Mega X, or the P96. I mean, protein shakes, I mean, kidding me? That's huge. And I see that all the time. There's definitely, workout fitness people that utilize X Factor and Boost and P96. I see it all day. So, I mean, that's just one example. Don't just limit it to fitness, but that's just one example. Even things that are a little off the radar in terms of product-wise, you could do hashtag mompreneur, or hashtag WHAM, WAHM, for work-at-home mom, or SAM, SAHM, for stay-at-home mom. Things like that. Or similar audiences, like who's kind of an online celebrity, if you will, maybe a blogger that you know of. Find their Instagram account and look at the hashtags that they use. I know the one big one is the mommy food blogger, right? You guys know about her, that she's really popular. I forgot her name. She's on Dr. Oz and things sometimes. I know a lot of people kind of listen to what she says.
Oh, I've seen her.
I forgot her name though. But again, take it all with a grain of salt. It doesn't mean that you have to talk about what she's talking about. It's just targeting kind of the same hashtags and audiences that she's targeting, or that person is targeting. So that's a way to go about finding those different hashtags to target.
So in your opinion, is it better to have your Instagram public?
Absolutely. Yeah. The private
Place to do that?
Yeah, it is. I
go back and forth with public, private on there, so.
I know some people have concerns about, because they want to use it for their family and their kids and stuff. I get that. It's kind of a personal determination. Like, are you okay with posting a picture of your kids? Like me personally, I have no problem for whether that's right or wrong. I post my 2-year-old all the time, and because I can't help it, because she's hilarious to me.
She's adorable.
Thank you. But see, that's partly why, like, I get so many compliments on her. It's totally selfish on my part. I'm like, I want to put pictures of her, but I'm like, I mean, you guys understand, right?
Do all you can, because when she's 14, 15, she won't let you. So do all you can.
We have a 15-year-old too, so I know. Yeah, from my wife's first marriage, we have a 15-year-old, and she's good. She's a babysitter. But she's tough. She's tough. But yes, I enjoy. I gave the 2-year-old. I gave her, I made up her own little hashtag, and so now so here's a good example, right? If you go on and you hashtag ValCal, I've tagged a bunch of posts with her. And so if you go to ValCal, there's a couple in there of like another girl, I think another country, a woman, she's used that. But for the most part, it's full of like pictures of my daughter. And so it acts like its own little website, to be honest, on Instagram. And the example we always use is with Celeste. She took her website and she made it a hashtag. So it's plexusbyceleste.com spelled out, DOTCOM. If you go to that hashtag on Instagram, either Plexus by Celeste or plexusbyceleste.com, there's hundreds of posts. And she can tell people and say, oh yeah, just go look up this hashtag on Instagram. That's me. And that tells you all you need to see and know about her brand, her online and personal brand. It's her posting about her family, the stuff they do, some products, convention, all this stuff that she's got going on for her personal brand, which is ultimately what you're trying to do. Your brand, your Plexus, you represent the company always 24/7, but you're also representing yourself as your own company, your own brand 24/7 in everything that you do. So the more you can bring yourself, your uniqueness to that, the better it will work, because ultimately there's 350,000 ambassadors at this point, all posting stuff about Plexus. What does each person bring to it themselves that in a unique way is you as the person. That's the only unique thing. And unfortunately, that's the only unique thing, is that it's you. So you can talk about X Factor, you can talk about P96, Slim, but there's 100, 200,000 more people potentially talking about that on these channels. So just always keep that in mind, and like, what are you bringing from you to that post, even to each individual post? What are you bringing to it that's going to make someone say, oh, that seems awesome, that would work for me, or that person, I like to get to know that person and hear what they're talking about. It seems to work for them. I'm like her. I should try it. You know, that's the mentality you want to have with it. It's not this broadcast like Plexus is great and Plexus, this is how much it is and all this stuff. This is how much you can make. It's about you. It's about how it's helped you, and again, though, staying compliant. Which I hope I didn't scare everybody. I was a little nervous about when I saw the questions. I'm like, oh boy, I know there's a lot of questions about compliance, and so I hope I definitely try to answer them the best I can. But compliance is still the authority on all that too.
Do you have a favorite social media that you like better than others?
Personally, yeah. Within the last 6 months, it's become Snapchat. I love Snapchat. It's great. I love it. It's getting a bad rap. It's gotten a bad rap over the last couple of years, or since it's come out, because of the whole, teens and sexting and the messages disappear and all that type of stuff. But there's major brands, companies that advertise on there, that use it, that have accounts. That's not the case anymore. I think that's kind of a typical thing that has happened in the past with social media channels, is they start out with a very young teen audience. Even Facebook started in college, at Harvard, and then spread only to colleges. So it was a very young audience, and then it expanded, and that's when it blew up. Snapchat is kind of along those lines now. Snapchat it gets 8 billion video views daily. So 8 billion videos, and they're short, but 8 billion video views daily. And so that's why, last month I was like, you know what, at this point, we have an audience within our ambassadors, because that's who I'm using it for primarily. We have an audience of ambassadors that use Snapchat. It's not as big that uses Facebook, but there's an audience, and people love connecting that way. It's a very real way to connect, with almost live video in a sense, or real-time video, and pictures, and you can do fun things on there. So it's not for everybody, and it's not the thing that's going to bring you in all this business, because it's a little different way to connect. You wouldn't just tell people, well, I mean, you can tell people to follow you on Snapchat, but it's not like they're going to follow you and then they're going to start buying your products because you're communicating with them on Snapchat.
I don't have one. My kids have it. I don't.
Yeah. That's okay. And that's okay, Gloria. I mean, it's like I said, it's not, everybody doesn't have to be on there, but by the same token, don't listen to the whole, oh, it's only for teens, it's only for millennials.
No, I checked it out before I let them have it. So
yeah, did you?
I did. Absolutely. They're teenagers, and I want to know what's going on in their lives. So yeah,
absolutely.
I did.
Yeah, and I have it just for the same, along those same lines, Gloria, but I just don't get it very well. So.
It's just one more thing for me to check between. I'm like the parent Nazi. My kids are at any given moment have to put their phones on the counter, and if they refuse, they're gone. And
That's okay. That's good. I do the same type of thing. Yeah, look, you're being a parent. You're being a parent, and it's harder now because there are so many of these channels that you have to monitor.
Well, I went to a whole thing, and I took
Yeah.
my kids with me, and they didn't even know about some of the things that are hidden, and I was thankful they didn't know about them.
Yep. Oh, listen, it's not to get too off track, but it's all about how you are as a parent. It's how you raise them, because there's always stuff that is out there. There's apps out there that they use. You don't know about them. Just know that they use, that they're totally anonymous on, that everybody is anonymous on, but everybody posts pictures and images and things, and it's not all age appropriate. You know?
I have created a business Pinterest page. I haven't really used it much because quite honestly, I don't understand it. So I think I'm going to look into that a little more.
Yeah, Pinterest is good. Pinterest is the audience, the demographic on Pinterest is almost exactly aligned with who our ambassadors are. There's a lot of heavily female weighted audience. It's like probably like 85% to 15% women to men. A lot of teachers, a lot of moms, a lot of soon-to-be brides. All those things that you would think of would be good ambassadors or customers use Pinterest. The thing with Pinterest is you have to be regularly active on Pinterest for it to work. And the thing with Pinterest too is it's a huge driver of traffic back to let's say if you have a blog. So if you have a blog, Pinterest is like a must-have. You would want to use Pinterest and then pin your images from your blog articles into Pinterest so that people can find them and go back to your blog. So each of these channels, they all have their purposes. They all have their uses, reasons why you'd want to have them and be on them. So it's just a matter of determining what's going to work best for you time-wise and really, too, what you're most comfortable with.
Well, Vincent, I think we're going to wrap it up because you have been so generous to give us so much of your time. But we definitely want to thank you so much. It's been very, very informative, and we've all learned a lot. And I know we can even learn more. So maybe we'll have you on another time.
Yeah, anytime.
Because I know, we so need to dive more into, I think, the Instagram and Pinterest and even LinkedIn and all these different
There's a lot, yeah.
You've really taught us a ton, and we really, really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure. Anytime, and definitely follow the accounts, and I'll send you guys the links. And if anyone has additional questions, I don't know if you want to have them send them to you guys or send them to me, or you can always reach out to me directly. I'm here. You can email me. It's socialmedia@plexusworldwide.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.